One of the loneliest feelings is not being the first person someone reaches for, being accepted only after someone else was chosen. It leaves a strange imprint. You're included, but you don't feel truly wanted. I'll explain 6 psychological ways this experience shapes the mind, so you can see how those patterns were learned, not born. If you want psychology explained without the fluff, so you can understand yourself better, subscribe and stay with me for the full breakdown. 1. Hyper-awareness of social signals. Rejection sensitivity is a kind of emotional radar. It makes small cues, a pause on a call, a clipped message, a delayed text, feel like danger signals. When you were often second choice, your brain learned to watch for the quiet ways people move away. Behaviorally, this looks like scanning tone, timing, and micro changes in attention. Internally, it feels like knotting in the stomach, or an immediate rush of dread at a silence. It's not a flaw. It's an alarm system tuned by past exclusion to try to keep you one step ahead. 2. Strong independence. When support is inconsistent, a practical adaptation is to rely on yourself. People who don't feel missed often become the ones who fix their own problems, celebrate small wins alone, and hesitate to ask for help. This looks like emotional autonomy rather than detachment. You can carry things without breaking, but the reason is learned, expecting that help won't always arrive. Inside, there's a quiet pride in competence mixed with a lingering unease about whether anyone would truly show up if you asked. 3. Overgiving to secure your place. If love felt conditional, one understandable response is to become indispensable. You may find yourself doing more, anticipating needs, staying longer, and excusing lapses so you won't be replaced. The behavior reads as generosity, but the motive is a strategy. Make yourself hard to let go. Emotionally, overgiving often leaves you exhausted and wary, because the extra effort is paid for by a fear that someone's attention could be withdrawn at any moment. 4. Fear of being temporary. The belief, I can be replaced, shapes how you handle conflict and requests. To avoid being the one someone drops, you downplay needs, swallow complaints, and accept less than you deserve. This looks like keeping the peace at your own expense. It feels like shrinking to fit wherever you're allowed. The cost is a steady tension. You're present to avoid loss, rather than present because your presence is valued. 5. Silent emotional strength. Living through repeated small betrayals, or being the backup, builds endurance. Unlike dramatic breakdowns, resilience here is quiet. You don't collapse under stress because you've practiced carrying it. Behaviorally, this shows up as being steady under pressure and not making a scene when things hurt. Internally, though, that steadiness often masks cumulative wear, an ache that isn't visible but is real. Strength and cost live together. 6. Valuing loyalty over flashes of affection. When grand gestures have been unreliable, consistency becomes the most precious thing. People who don't feel missed tend to prefer daily choosing, steady texts, showing up for plans, waking up to the same small routines, over intense but sporadic declarations. You might test someone not for chemistry but for pattern. Will they keep choosing you? That preference feels like relief when it's met, and deep skepticism when it isn't. Put together, these 6 traits form a recognizable profile. Hyper-awareness makes you read threats into silence, which can prompt overgiving to prevent abandonment. That overgiving coexists with strong independence, because you learned you could not count on others, and both are animated by the fear of being replaceable. Silent strength lets you survive, but it also hides the cost of survival. And because consistency matters more than fireworks, you crave the daily acts that prove you're chosen, not just wanted in flashes. This pattern explains why you may not feel missed, even when you're included. People who don't feel missed have learned to notice absence in subtler ways. They expect to be the backup, so the absence of a big reaction doesn't register as loss in the same way. Your cues for being loved are built around being consistently chosen, not around dramatic proof. That makes sudden attention feel uncertain rather than reassuring. Take a moment to reflect. When was the first time you remember not being the first choice? What small signs did you start watching after that? This isn't meant to be therapy homework, but reflection can help you see the origins of a pattern instead of blaming yourself for it. If this is resonating, you're not alone, and you're not broken. These responses were adaptive, ways your mind protected you in unpredictable environments. Naming the pattern reduces self-blame and opens a space where you can choose differently with clearer awareness. If this hits hard, consider talking with a counselor who can help you explore these patterns safely. If this resonated, comment one point you recognized and subscribe for more insights into how our past quietly shapes our relationships. Share this with someone who needs to feel seen. Recognizing the pattern is the first step toward gentler choices. Because understanding what you learned gives you the power to decide how you want to respond now.